This plasma TV is about 10 years old, and last night I suddenly lost the picture and the sound at the same time while watching a movie. And now when I try to turn on the TV, I can see that it's gaining the power. There is a short flash on the screen, but that's just about as far as it goes. The cable box is on, and just to completely rule it out, I'm gonna press on the menu and the input for the TV only, and I should see some kind of options on the screen which have nothing to do with the cable box. And since I don't see anything on the screen, it's probably the main motherboard, which probably lost connection to one of the components on the board. Therefore, I'm going to try to warm up the motherboard just enough for the solder to melt, and hopefully re-establish better connection when it cools down. And to get to the motherboard, I need to unscrew the backplate. And for that reason, I placed the TV face down on a soft bench and let the stand hang down for now until I remove it. The only tool I need for this job is a screwdriver, and basically just go around and remove every single screw I see. These 4 screws are for the stand, and just keep going on the side. And by the way, this is a USB stick which provides internet for this TV, but for some reason it didn't work in the past couple of years, and hopefully I can fix it today. So I'm going to start with the stand by removing these 4 screws and simply pulling it out. When the stand is out, I'll continue to unscrew all the screws that I can see to loosen up the back cover. Now I can lift up and remove the back plate to see what's going on inside. It looks very busy and complicated at first, but all I care about is one board on the right side. This is the main motherboard, and it has all your USB, HDMI, and old school round connectors with different colors. It also has this black heatsink right in the middle, which covers up the main processor chip. So while the board is still attached to the TV, I need to remove all the cable connectors from the board one by one. Every harness is a little bit different, so you kind of have to figure out how to remove it without breaking it. That one was squeeze on the sides and pull. This one has nothing to squeeze, so I just kind of had to pull it out, and it was kind of difficult to do it the first time because you don't want to pull on those wires and accidentally disconnect one of them. Always pull or push on the plastic harness, not the wires. This one has a plastic hook on the top, and you can lift it up with your fingernail and then pull on the wire harness. Just like that. This one also has a hook on the top, and you remove it exactly the same as the previous one. But this one gives me problems, so I'm gonna have to come back and do it with both hands later on. This one I loosened up already, and it has both squeeze on the sides and a hook on the top. And now it's time to unscrew the board from the TV. It has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 screws that I need to unscrew. Now that the screws are out, I realized that I forgot to remove this flat wire harness, and it comes off pretty easy by lifting up on this black plastic lock with your fingernail. Do not use a screwdriver because you may damage it. And now I can finally pull out the board from the TV. When you pull out the board, try to handle it carefully by the sides only, without touching any of the internal components, because you may accidentally pass electrostatic shock from your fingers to the board and damage it. It's like walking on a carpet with your socks on and then touching the metal door handle. Now I'll just put it on a piece of cardboard and cut it to the right size. And then put the whole thing on a piece of foil, just in case. You can bake it in a regular oven. Solder used in the electronics will typically melt at about 385 degrees Fahrenheit, which is about 200 Celsius. Let it preheat and then put it inside the oven for about 10 minutes. But I know it's gonna stink a lot, therefore I'm gonna take it outside in a portable oven. This oven does not have an exact temperature setting, so I'm gonna set it right below 400, which is again about 200 Celsius. And I'll set the timer for about 15 minutes, I'll let it preheat for about first 5 minutes and then use the other 10 minutes to actually bake the board. Alright, so it's been about 5 minutes, the oven is nice and hot, so I'm just gonna place it here and wait. Well, I had to cut it short after about 5-6 minutes of baking because this thing started to melt. This is just a piece of tape with a foam, and I should have probably removed it before I started to bake. But I also noticed that some of the plastic parts started to melt as well, like here, a little bit here, over there. So at this point I'm not even sure if the solder had enough time to melt, so I'm just gonna put everything together and hope for the best. But I will let it cool for about 30 minutes before I touch anything. To put it back together, I have 4 different types of screws, and the medium one goes around, and there is a whole bunch of them. The long ones go into the stand, there is 4 of them. The thick ones go in the middle, and they are for hanging TV on the wall. And the tiny ones go into different places, like one in here by the power outlet, and into the motherboard, one here, one there, and on the other side. Or at least I thought so. When I start putting it together, I realized that the tiny screws have 2 different threads, and they're not interchangeable. So you need to remember where you get them from. Alright, I put everything together, the cable box is on, and here's the moment of truth. Hit the start button, flash on the screen, and we got a picture. So looks like 5 to 6 minutes of baking at 385 degrees was enough for this motherboard. But you have to realize that every situation is different, and there is absolutely no guarantee that this will work for you. This is a really old TV, and I didn't really care that much about it, and that's why I decided to try to bake it. And before I go, just wanted to see if baking fixed my internet connection for this TV. Put this USB stick back in, connecting to the network, hit YouTube, and the request cannot be processed. Well, I guess baking the motherboard does not solve every problem, but I'm still happy that I got my TV back. And if you found this video helpful, please share it with your friends, subscribe, and also hit the like button. Thank you.